Let's go ahead and manage users and groups in Azure Active Directory. This is actually pretty simple. So here we have my instance of Azure Active Directory, and I've got under Manage just a Users and Groups area. And within this, I've got two areas I'm going to work with: all users, all groups. And so this now becomes just like every other system you've ever managed users and groups in. If I want to create a group, I simply go to All Groups, New Group, give it a name. This is a group I'm going to use for administration of App 1. And again, this can be any group, any permission set that you want. Membership type is assigned, and then we can simply begin to assign members. And so it now let me search through all the users that are in my instance of Azure Active Directory. And so I'm just going to check a couple of users here. Click Select, click Create, and I've now created that group and assigned the individual users access to the group. So here it is right here, and we can see from the members who's a member of the group. I can also look at the owner of the group. Now, owners are allowed to manage the group. So we're going to come in and pick a user to be an owner of the group. I'm just picking a random user. And so this user now has the opportunity to modify the group membership. Group memberships indicate other groups that this is a member of. So we can do group nesting. For example, I can have global administrators, East administrators, West administrators, and rather than adding individual users to each group, I can add them all to East and West, and then add East and West to global. So again, just like you would have worked with any other user group permission system in any other platform that's out there. Group nesting is supported. You can look at groups from the standpoint of users, or you can look at groups from the standpoint of looking at the members of a group. Creating user accounts is equally as simple. So we're going to come over to All Users and simply click New User. Username, email address, user profile. This is your basic information. Any additional user properties, let's save this. Additional properties, such as the source, and then any groups that this user is a member of. For example, this user is going to be a member of ADDC administrators and App1 admins. And then finally, the role of the user. Now, the role of the user is particularly important because you've got a couple of options here. If they're just a standard user, they don't have access to Azure itself. They only have access to applications or solutions or different entities that you use Azure Active Directory to govern access with. So, for example, Office 365 or Intune or things of that nature. A limited administrator allows you administrative access to different elements of Azure. For example, they could be a password administrator, they could be a security administrator, they could be a billing administrator. And these are all built-in roles within Azure that grant you different levels of access to Azure itself, to the subscription itself. And then finally, a global administrator is essentially like making them the equivalent of a Windows domain admin or a Linux root account. They have absolute access to everything within this particular instance of Azure Active Directory, including all the subscription data. Now, we want to show the password. The password is randomly generated, and this is what we would give the user as their initial password. By default, it is set, and you can't control this, to force the user to change the password on first logon. So we'd want to copy this password, just set that aside, create the user account, and we can now go log on as Corey Hines at contosoblue.com. And so what I'm going to do is open up a private browsing window. Go to portal.azure.com. add my new Azure account. Next, paste the password that was auto-generated. And we'll see that it now requires me to change my password. And so now we sign in, and so I'm in as a regular user, and as a result, I don't see anything. I don't have access to any subscription data. If I wanted to now do things within Azure, I need to actually create my own subscription. You pay for it in my own method, what have you. So that's it. That's the simple process for making user and group accounts within Azure.